I always like the little echo that you get back from the mic. Makes me feel very like legit. Good morning. Here we are. Yeah.
That was crazy. I wasn't looking at you when you said that.
I thought that was like a machine.
Yeah. Hello, everyone, and welcome to The Squeeze. I am boy Taylor Lautner.
And I'm girl Taylor Lautner.
Let's go.
Were you giving us like some musical intro there?
I don't know.
You should just make a little beatbox and mix, and that should be our like our soundtrack, our little intro.
Yeah.
Sounds.
I think one of my goals in life is to become a member of Pentatonics. If I can one day perform with them, I think my life will be made.
Okay. Well, we'll add that one to the bucket list.
Okay.
Maybe it's like at the bottom of the bucket.
Oh.
So like you can't pull it out.
Unsupportive wife.
Oh, stop. Okay, let's get into actual things happening. We have the lovely, beautiful Tanya and Raquelle on our episode today, and I love them.
I know you do.
They're so fun.
I knew you would. So context for everyone. I have known both Tanya and Raquelle for Raquelle coming up on 10 years. Mm-hmm. And Tanya just a little less than that. But yeah, I've known both of them for a while, and I just think they both are tremendous humans.
Yeah.
Boss women.
Yeah.
And I just respect the crap out of both of them. So I was super excited for it was your first time meeting Raquelle. You've met Tanya like once,
years
maybe
ago.
quickly.
Yeah. At an iHeart event.
But I knew Tay was going to hit it off with both of them.
Yeah.
And she sure did.
Yeah. We have some great convo. It's so fun to have two best friends on and see how they help each other and also how they are as individuals, how they're different. And we also talk about their new book, The Sunshine Mind, that they did together.
Yeah.
It's an awesome book. We're going to leave a link for you guys to check it out below. But it was so fun just to talk with them and hear their inspiration behind the book, some personal stories that I read that I loved from the book that they kind of delve a little deeper into. So
yeah, they have some great insight, and I learned some good stuff from both of them. So highly recommend their book, and highly recommend you not turning off this podcast right now and listening to what Tanya and Raquelle have to say.
Yeah, let's get to it.
Tanya, Raquelle, thank you so much for being here. It's
Thank
so
you
good
for
to
having
see you
us.
both.
Thank you. It's so good to be here.
We're excited to have you, and we were just talking about how long it's been since I've seen you both. So
yeah,
just for viewers, I've known both of you for a long time.
Yeah, we were saying almost, it's you and I are coming up to 10 years.
Yes.
Which is wild.
Yes.
Yeah.
But haven't seen either one of you for at least like 4 years.
I know.
No, like 3.
Yeah.
3 years.
Well, that's
but
not,
I was
not
saying
that far off.
To Tay, I'm like, because of social media, it never feels like as long as it's been, because I still know what you guys are up to and we're in communication. But yeah, we haven't been in person in like 3-4 years, which is sad.
I know.
Yeah.
Let's not let it happen
We
again.
changed it.
We changed it.
Changing the course. So each episode, we start off with a little game we call Cit-Rus Got Real. Like shit.
Okay,
Cit-Rus.
love that.
I love that you're still clarifying.
Hey, I do it every couple episodes. Shush.
I like
You
it.
never know when a new listener is tuning in and they're like, Cit-Rus, what?
Cit-Rus
I
Got
got
Real.
Shush. There's this jar that has a beautiful book in front of it that we will dive into later. This jar has a bunch of questions that are very difficult, deep questions to answer. Not really.
They're
but
not. They're fun.
What's your favorite color? Here we go.
Feel free, one of you. Do you want to pull out a question?
Yeah,
there?
would love to. Yeah.
You got it?
There.
Get one each.
Yeah, do one each. These are my favorite questions in the entire interview.
This is very exciting. Haven't been. Wow.
What is your favorite smell?
Ooh, favorite smell.
Interesting.
This is going to be so gross, but my dog's mouth. Yeah, it's
so in
true.
love. She is that parent. Like it's sickening.
Oh my
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love her breath.
I got the dog part
I
because like
know.
the dogs have a smell.
There's a
That's
smell.
your favorite smell.
But
Yes.
I don't think I would say the mouth.
Well,
Wow.
you know what I'm saying? Like the area, like whenever I kiss her, it's
Yeah.
just like that scent right there.
Dang, she's got good breath.
Yeah, I brush her teeth. Thank you very much. I keep her hygienic.
How
my
old
gosh.
is she?
She's 1.
Okay.
Yeah.
That
Oh,
breath is
baby.
going to get worse.
Yeah, I bet. But you know what I'm talking about? That like cornflake smell of a dog.
No, I
Cornflakes.
can't
Wait,
relate. I can't relate.
I know like the Frito smell that's on the paws.
Yeah, like
Remy's
that.
paws
Yeah.
smell like
Yeah.
Fritos.
Yeah.
It's my favorite smell.
I mean, that is true love, Tanya, because
Yeah.
I mean, that's the last thing I would think of.
That was the first thing I thought of.
Shout
my
out
gosh.
to, what's your dog's name?
Sunny, I love you.
Sunny's breath.
Oh my gosh.
Has anyone ever said that before?
No.
No, that's probably your favorite smell.
Remy's breath?
Well, Remy.
Remy in general? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or like, I thought you were going to say this is going to be weird or gross. I thought you were going to say like gasoline. Like I do still. I
Yeah.
don't mind the smell of gasoline.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm at the gas station and I'm like, but I know it's bad for me.
I
So I'm
know.
like, don't do
I'm
it.
like, okay,
don't
one
do it.
sniff and then you're done.
Sick.
Okay.
If you're still listening, please don't tune away.
Sorry.
They're like, wasn't this a
It's
mental
gonna be
health
worth your
show?
time. It's gonna be worth your time.
Oh my gosh. I think my smell would be our I'm gonna pick a normal answer and go with our candle
Okay.
from our wedding.
Yep.
Oh,
The candle company Sniff. They have
yeah.
a scent called Sweet Ash.
I love an ashy smell.
It's
That's my
so
favorite.
good.
To die for.
It's so good.
Wow.
We love it so much. We got like 20 jumbo candles and put them around our whole wedding because we
Whoa.
wanted
That's nice.
to like attach
A
a
smell
scent
to it.
our wedding. So people were like, their wedding smelled so good.
Yeah, that's so smart.
important. Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
a cool idea.
Very cool.
Okay, let's hear yours.
Okay. What song lyric best describes your life motto?
Wow.
YOLO. And I'm going to make that a little deeper than it sounds.
Okay.
Ooh.
So YOLO, you only
Yep.
live once.
Yeah.
Drake, thank you. I try to live my life that way every single day. And I think so often we can get caught up in our fears. So we won't really go for things in our life. We won't go for that job. We won't go for that relationship because it's something like fear is holding us back. And I think
Yeah.
anytime I feel that, I remind myself of truly you only live once.
Yeah.
And I think that it takes work to push past. It's part of why we wrote our book, Sunshine Mind, is because you do only live once. And so it
Yeah.
is so important to live life to the fullest. And so to do things like forgive, to go for what you want, to accept yourself, to love yourself the way that you are.
Yeah.
And so I made that a little deeper maybe than it
Love
sounds,
it.
but that is truly my life motto,
Wow.
YOLO.
Oh my
Wow.
gosh.
Shout out Drake.
Drake.
I don't know if I can think of something to top that.
No, the
Yeah,
song?
that was pretty
No.
quick on the top of your
Yeah,
head.
I'm gonna leave
Well, I
that
thought
there.
while you were answering, to be honest, I
okay.
kind of checked out of the dog breath and I was like, I went to a different place.
There could be somebody listening to this that can relate. Yeah.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure. I don't mind the smell of Remy's breath.
Yeah, Remy doesn't have
Lily's kind of sucks.
Lily is also 7 and probably can use her toothbrush a little more often
Yeah.
than they are.
Yeah.
Brushed.
Great answers.
Oh,
Love that.
my
Thank
word.
you.
Sonny's breath and Drake.
You get the yin and the yang here.
Yeah,
you know?
You do.
I love it. Oh my gosh. I want to know, how did you guys meet? Like how long have you guys been friends? What a great
Funny
question.
enough, honestly, we could thank Jason Kennedy
You're
for
a
that.
good friend, Jason Kennedy.
Yeah.
And
What?
our friend.
Mhm.
Tell him the story.
So
crazy.
Jason was working at E at the time when our radio studio was in the E building. So like we weren't part of it, but because Ryan did E and the radio show, they built this radio studio in there. And so I would see Jason all the time in the hallways. You know, you just say hi, friendly people at the office. And I was going through like a horrible breakup and I was crying every day at work, but I would walk out the hallway because I didn't want people to see me like in the studio crying. So I was always in the hallway crying and he would like see me. And one day he came up to me and said, I don't know why you're crying. He didn't know what was going on in my life. He just thought I was like crying all the time. And he said, I'm having a Bible study tonight. If you want to come, it's here. I'll text you the information.
Oh my
So I was
gosh.
like, okay. I tried everything for this breakup. Like I did the going out every night. I was drinking all the time, the partying, that whole thing. None of it worked.
The Bible study was the last resort.
The Bible study was an interest. I just had never even thought of it. You know, I didn't really grow up in a church that felt like me.
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, I'm gonna try it. It was that night, and so I went to the Bible study, and that's when I met Raquelle.
Yeah, great times.
Holy crap.
And I met Tanya, and I had kind of been praying. I was like, God, if LA is where I'm meant to be and stay, I pray that I would make the best friends I've made in my life, and that you would make it clear. And I met Tanya, and we kind of instantly connected, and we really have been friends ever since.
Yeah.
Wow.
We wrote a chapter. I wrote a chapter about it in the book about Jason, and like also it's in the intro because it's literally how we met.
But it shows also
Wow.
the importance of reaching out to someone.
Yeah.
So if he didn't see her crying,
Right.
it's one thing to it's actually kind of uncomfortable, right? To see someone crying and to go out of your way to say, hey,
Approach them.
are you okay? I want to invite you to this Bible study. But if he hadn't have done that, we wouldn't have had this. But this book wouldn't be out.
Yeah.
Your entire
So-
life could have looked different.
Just shows you the
Totally.
power of one decision.
Yeah.
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 That is so crazy.
Wow.
Where was Bible study at that point?
Montage.
It was at Montage?
Was it?
Wow.
Or was it at Jace? Or was it at the house?
It wasn't at the house.
Beverly
Maybe
Wilshire?
it was the montage then.
It was at the Montage.
Okay.
Yeah.
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 Wow.
I missed out on when it was still at the house.
I was there at the house, the very
What?
beginning. Yeah.
That is crazy.
Yep.
Wow.
Crazy.
Our next partner is Athletic Greens. I take AG1 by Athletic Greens literally every day. I gave AG1 a try because I wanted to better my gut health, increase my energy, improve my immune support. And I've also seen so many people take AG1 that I was like, okay.
Everybody and their brother.
Post about it. I'm constantly saying it. So
Yeah.
I was finally like, okay, I'll give it a try. I like to take my AG1 in the morning before I start my day. I'm kind of in the middle of replacing coffee right now, so I will use that instead of coffee. And it just makes me feel ready to go, ready to start my day. I feel like I'm starting it on a good note and bettering my body. So
Great way to start your day.
yeah, it's also really hard for me to keep up with a supplement routine because there are so many different things to take, companies to buy product from.
Yeah.
I also don't like taking pills. So AG1 is great for me in that regard, and it just makes it easy for me to cover all of my nutritional bases every day. So if you're looking for an easier way to take supplements, Athletic Greens is giving you a free 1-year supply, of vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. Go to athleticgreens.com/squeeze. That's athleticgreens.com/squeeze. Go and check it out.
That's a fantastic deal.
I know, right?
Jeez. So we'll just jump into the book. Congrats on the book.
Thank
It's
you.
awesome.
I
Thank you
love
so
it so
much.
much. It's so good and so sweet, and just like I feel like I'm like having a conversation with like a friend.
That
reading
was
it.
our hope.
Very
That
sad.
was our hope. Yeah.
Very relatable.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you go back to like what sparked the idea of the book? Was there anything specifically, and how did that process look?
It's funny because I had written a different book proposal before this one.
Oh, wow.
And it was a dating book. And it was like supposed to be like this fun, like dating book. And it just did not go anywhere. Like
Wow.
nobody wanted it. And it was like a lot of work. Like, I don't know if you've ever written a book.
No.
It's a lot.
It is a lot,
And,
yeah.
I can only imagine.
So it was really, really like a huge heartbreak when that didn't go, because it was just like, that's literally me, you know?
Yeah.
And so I talked about it on my podcast. I opened up about, that was kind of like my, we do this thing where we do like the pit and peak of
Oh,
the year.
yes, yes.
And that was my pit. And I was just like talking about it. And I got a message from one of our scrub sisters, and she basically said, I really believe in you and your message. I have an aunt that works in publishing. I want to connect you to her. I really, believe in what you're doing. And so I knew right then and there, I wanted to do something different. I wanted to do a devotional, and I wanted to do something that's really going to help people. And I immediately came to Raquelle because what I wanted to do essentially was that I wanted the book to be like the friend that you want to reach out to. And anytime I would reach out to her, Raquelle would come back with like a scripture or something that would always make me feel at ease in like the situation that I was in, whether it was like career or love or family. She always had something for me. And so I was like, Raquelle's the perfect person to partner up with.
Wow.
And that's kind of how that was born, essentially.
Wow.
Yeah. And when she came to me, it was an easy answer. Obviously it was a yes. And it was during the pandemic, a time when so many people were struggling.
Yeah.
And I was having a lot of conversations with friends and family members that were just feeling really discouraged and opposite of the sunshine mind. It was like the world's really dark and I feel really down. And so I thought, okay, the timing feels right to put something out that is uplifting, that is hopeful in spite of maybe the circumstances that the world is currently in. And so it was a very easy yes for me. And Tanya's the best partner.
Yeah, it was actually a really fun process too, just because we have different strengths and we have different weaknesses that kind of complement each other.
Like, what was that process like of like putting it together and like, because it's not just you, it's someone else.
Yeah.
Too.
I'm such a procrastinator. So Tanya would be like, Raquelle's not going to make the deadline.
I was like literally just like so on edge. Like, I was like, we need to do this by tonight. And she hasn't even started. And like, I would get and she would do it. She would always get it in on time.
And then we, it was cool because even in our examples, we're very different, but I shouldn't say we're different because I think our core values are the same, but our stories and our strengths are different.
We're fundamentally morally the same, but characteristics are very different. The way that I handle situations is very different from the way she does. And the way that we live our lives are also very different. So it felt like we kind of could, anybody reading it can find themselves in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah. Cover a lot of ground for lack of a better term.
Yeah. Make a good team.
Mm-hmm. Was there like, I mean, I've never written a book, so I don't know, but what was like the biggest obstacle? Was it a personal thing? Was it like with a third party trying to get it out? Like, was there a moment where you were like, I don't know if this is going to happen? Or did you just feel confident in it the whole time?
I think overall we felt confident. I think it's difficult when you're sharing personal examples from your life because it's a fine line between being open and being vulnerable, which is important. But then there are some things where it's like, well, maybe I want to keep that private. I
don't have that line.
I love that about you. And you know what? I don't think I did much in the book. I really made an effort to kind of just put it all out there. So I think more so the challenge was how do you write in a way of like these words are going to be out there forever in print. They're out there and whoa, that's a big deal. So it's like, how do you really decide what you want to pick and choose versus what maybe should be left out?
Yeah.
Wow. I did not like think about that.
But
I think like that's where it's interesting because like I do daily entertainment, right? So it's like a morning show. It's like you do it, it's out there, it's done. I've never done something that it just felt more permanent in a sense, like in writing in a book, it just felt so permanent. But what also I think is so cool about a book and about kind of what you guys do too is when you are vulnerable and you open up about things, that's where the magic happens because that's where people can connect. And that, like I think social media has done a good job of like connecting people and letting people see your life, but not really seeing your life. And I think there's this misconception, especially with younger girls, that everybody has everything all together. And so I think being able to be vulnerable and open up about challenges and different things that we've experienced, body image, career, love, like failure in all those areas, I think that's where the magic happens and that's where community's built.
Yeah, I love that. That's like such a huge part of, us and why we're doing this is like we want to be. Taylor's has lived a life and me half of that, and just being able to share how different our experiences have been, but also like just being honest with people and giving them not not giving them hope, but giving them somewhere to look like, oh, this person deals with it. Like, oh, I'm not alone in that.
Yeah. Being vulnerable and, talking about things that sometimes I don't really feel comfortable with is like definitely on the newer side for me. Like for so long I had like so many walls up and just was like, I want to live in the middle of nowhere and just like not let anybody in. But it's been great and really helps you not only find yourself, but also form, so many more meaningful relationships when you do like knock down those walls.
But also too, like if you're not speaking it, you're storing it. And if you're storing all that in you for so many years, like it's like toxic in your body,
Yep. I think that's exactly what was going on with me.
Yeah.
And you need to get it out.
Yeah.
Somewhere.
It's been really cool. Like every episode so far, we've like had someone explain something, or a big motto of mine is like, you can take something like from every conversation you have. And that's been so true with this podcast. Is every episode, I feel like we're like, oh, I never thought about it that way. Or Taylor like has a whole life epiphany and he's like, oh, maybe that's why I do this. I've never even thought about it.
It's like therapy.
Literally.
We call this
I found
free
that
therapy.
in the podcast we've done too. You like start chatting with people.
Let me tell you, therapy is a whole different thing.
It's amazing. It's like therapy. Like therapy.
Yeah.
It's like therapy.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
It's true.
Just quickly, I have 2 little quotes from each of you from the book that I read that I loved, that I feel like people listening and watching would love to like hear you expand upon. And I just think they're great little things. Tanya, something you wrote was, rejection is sometimes God's redirection.
Love that.
I'm obsessed with that. Can you elaborate a little bit on that?
Yeah. She loves this one. I feel the excitement.
I get really excited about it because I think that, oftentimes when we don't get what we want, whether it's happened to me in my professional career, and it's also happened to me in my personal life. Like I dated so much, and I was, sometimes I was the one rejecting, but more so than not, I was getting rejected. And it was always like God protecting me, because and it's always in hindsight, right? Like you can look back and say, oh, that's why that didn't work out. And, this is why this was meant to be. This is what God had in store for me. But in those moments, it's really defeating and deflating. And rejection can make you feel a certain type of way. It makes you feel inadequate, not enough, lacking in a certain thing. And I think it's quite the opposite. It's just like we're just kind of going, we don't know what we're doing, but God's always moving us in the direction that we're supposed to be going. And I think that, when you go for jobs and you don't get that, that gig that you wanted, or you don't get that, whatever it is, or something fails, like my first book proposal failed.
Yeah.
And that was rejection, like massive rejection. And it was hard to deal with, but it's like, this book I feel so much better about, and it felt so much more intentional and focused and for the greater good. So it was like, I needed that rejection because God had a bigger plan for me. And so it's like, I've just seen it happen so much in my professional and my personal life that I feel like it's something that whenever somebody's going through something in life where they feel rejected, just knowing that it's not the rejection, they're just getting redirected to something that's meant for them.
Yep. I couldn't love that more. And it's tough because in the moment, it's impossible to see that. Like when you're in the thick of it and going through it, it's impossible to be like, it's not impossible, but it's very difficult to, see forward. Yeah. But like, I look at like some of the biggest rejections in my life, and I don't know if I can think of one off the top of my head that I'm like, yeah, you know what? If I would have got that, my life would be so much better. Like if that would have happened to me, 10 years ago, I would be so much happier right now. Like,
so true.
Always works itself out. When I was a sophomore in high school, so I was I might have been 15 at the time. I had 2 screen tests in one day.
Were you living in California?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. I was going to high school, and it was just a great day. I like a screen test for those listening is like, it's down to, very few people for a role. And you go in and you read for the director and producers, sometimes like, the other co-stars who are, down to the final few. And it's like, it's the last step before they hire you. It's the last step. And I had a screen test for 2 different movies in the same day. And it was awesome. But one of them I wanted really, really bad. And the other one I knew nothing about, and I could have cared less if I got it or not. So really, I just was putting all my attention towards getting this one that I just thought was going to change my life. And that was a movie called Journey to the Center of the Earth, starring Dwayne Johnson. And I think Josh Hutcherson ended up getting it. Me and him used to audition against each other all the time.
Funny.
So I was like, it was a big Disney film. I'd be starring opposite The Rock. Like literally, I'm like, this will change my career forever. The other one, which I was like, was this vampire book.
Oh my gosh.
Called Twilight. And they both went well, but I called my agent afterwards. I was like, they went well, but man, I just really, really hope I get Journey to the Center of the Earth. And my agent was like, don't be so sure. There's a little bit of steam behind this Twilight thing.
Wow.
I was like, I've never heard of it. Vampire and werewolves? I don't know. I want to be opposite The Rock. And anyways, a couple of days later, they call me and they're like, we got good news and bad news for you. I was like, oh no, what? They're like, you didn't get Journey to the Center of the Earth. And I was like, oh. They're like, but you did get Twilight. And I was like, okay.
You're like, whatever.
Now looking back at
I know,
it.
isn't that so wild?
Thank goodness I got the little vampire book.
I think that's so important for people to hear because you can apply it to anything
I was
in life.
devastated at the time.
Yeah.
See?
I thought I missed the opportunity of a lifetime. And in reality,
You
were
got the
getting it.
opportunity.
I got the opportunity of a lifetime.
Yeah.
Yes to
Isn't-
that.
I know.
Clap
That's
to that.
so
That's
wild.
great.
And you must have to, I feel like you probably have to deal with rejection a lot because I feel like
Yeah.
there's certain professions where you don't have to just deal with it on a daily basis. And there's some
Yeah.
where you do. And I feel like in those, like you really have to have a really strong inner life because that can really rock you. I think all that rejection, I feel like it can really kind of make you feel a certain type of way.
For sure. Yeah. Even the most successful people,
Totally.
still get rejected
Mm-hmm.
probably more than
So
not.
true.
Yeah.
To be comfortable with it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's tough.
Great story.
I love that story. Thanks for thanks for sharing. That came to mind when I read that little quote. I love it. Raquelle, you talk about in one of the passages just kind of like not knowing for sure what career you were going to do, what life looked like, and I feel like that is such a common thing for people in their
So
20s and their
relatable.
30s. I even feel like some days I wake up, I'm like, am I doing this right? What am I doing?
Yeah.
Can you speak to that a little about your experience and any advice that you
Yeah.
give?
So I think that everybody, I don't want to say it's not your prime, but I think everybody's like, your 20s are your prime. Whatever. I'm like, 20s are actually really confusing.
Yeah.
Right? I turned 30 this past year and I feel more me. I feel more comfortable in my skin. I feel so in my purpose. And my 20s were a lot of trying this, trying that, and getting to where I am now. So if we would have sat down and had this conversation 10 years ago, my heart would have been the same. I would have told you, I want to work on stuff that's making a difference, helping people. But how was I going to get there? Right? So I was a journalism major in school during a time where the entire news business was changing, right? It used to be, and it's still this way, right? You start in a small market in Kansas or Iowa or whatever after you graduate, and then you eventually work your way up to the big networks.
Yeah.
But now you can be a journalist online. You can be on YouTube. There's all these different outlets.
Yeah.
And so I started to realize pretty quickly that my life was not going to go that direction. I started building a life in LA and realized I wanted to stay here. And so I worked so many different jobs. I worked freelance for different magazines. I did like red carpet interviews. I did this and that. I worked as an assistant. Like I did so many different things, and then worked for Selena in 2018, and then ended up working project-based with her, and through doing the cooking show and being a producer on her documentary kind of got me into the space of working on content that even with the cooking show, it's like you're making people laugh, you're putting out joy, and you get to experience the knock-on effect of that. And working on a documentary that's on mental health and helping people. And I have a video online series as well that's also available in podcast form called Giving Back Generation, where I share people's stories on how they use their life to give back. And so essentially, and then we have the book. So it's like my heart when I was 20 was the same, but I wouldn't have had the inner strength to be able to do what I'm doing now at that age, because you have to go through things. You have to try jobs. You have to know what's right for you and what's not, and also to kind of learn your worth and what you're meant to be doing. And so my advice would be take the next right step. And sometimes there's peace in just knowing that you're getting a paycheck. Yeah. So I was an assistant, but I'm not administrative at all. But it led me to what I'm doing now, got me experience in the industry, and helped me to build relationships and understand how things work. Yeah. So had I not taken that job, which wasn't my dream, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing now. So my advice would be just keep your eye on what's in front of you and surrender to God, the higher power. And I'm telling you, life just kind of unfolds the way that it's meant to. There's something about trusting the process that is really beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I love that. That made me think of, like, personally, and I know if there's nurses listening to this, they can relate. There's so much like pressure as a nurse to like go work at a hospital when you graduate, but hospital life is built like nurses, everyone's different. And if the hospital job like isn't good for your body or for your mental health, then you shouldn't be working that job. And a lot of nurses get a bad rap for going to the hospital and working and leaving. It's just like, oh, you're weak, you couldn't do it. Like you want to work at a med spa or at a outpatient surgery center, and you're like, well, those are also needed, but also like that's just not. That actually took me a while to come to terms with leaving the hospital. Like so many senior nurses would be like, I'm the only one left from my new grad class, or like would just be like, are you gonna stay and like make like the new grads feel?
But you know
bad?
what that is? That's total projection.
Yeah.
Because I think maybe deep down they wish they would have left sooner than they did.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm so thankful that I did, because I wouldn't be sitting on this couch with all of us. But it's just so wild that you just truly have to do, like, you have to take your
And I love
next
that
right
you said
step.
that too, because the truth is there is value in all of it. So if you're in the hospital, that's amazing. If you're working at an outpatient center, that's amazing. If you're working at a med spa, it's amazing. And so I think that that's so cool that that's your perspective, and it's important, I think, to hear.
Hey, we need those med spa nurses.
We do.
But it's important because I feel like there's people like that in every career.
For
you know,
sure.
there's those people that kind of give you those little soft digs and things. And I think people can really like let that get to them. And I think at the end of the day, that's literally somebody projecting onto you. And so I think like not listening to other people is so important.
Yeah.
It's so hard to feel judgment from other people.
Totally.
And be able to put that behind you and just, truly do what you are, feel, what your gut says, what you're passionate about, not what, all the judgment from the outside world is trying to make you feel.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There's a phrase behind the sunshine mind. Like what's the story behind like naming it that title?
So the sunshine mind, the sunshine mindset, we say it's not a formula or a quick fix. It's rather the way that we go about our life day to day. So for example, it's choosing to forgive instead of retaliating. It's choosing to take disappointments as lessons learned. It's choosing to take the high road. And I think we're all faced with opportunities each day to be able to do those things.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's a little harder if it's something more extreme. And sometimes it's just in the little things, like you're sitting in traffic or the line's really long, you're getting coffee and you have a moment to be frustrated. Maybe it's like, okay, I'm going to practice patience right now. Or I'm in traffic, I'm going to pick up the phone and call a friend, check in how they're doing. And so I think that when people say like, well, how do I develop a sunshine mindset? You know, when someone says it can take 30 days to create or break a habit, I think that it's one of those things that is a lifelong practice, but the more you do it, the more it gets stronger.
Yeah.
You don't realize too, like it's a daily choice. Like it's so funny. My dad FaceTimed me last weekend and he's like, I've been dying to finish the book and I really wanted to tell you what I love so much about it. And I was like, what is it, Dad? And he was like, life is an opportunity and it's all how you choose to live it. And he's like, and the fact that you chose and you show how you chose the good and the right and the strong and the strength and he's like, it just shows people that they can choose this life, you know, like they can choose this perspective. And I was like,
that's so sweet.
I know.
Love your dad.
I know.
I feel like I've heard Jay Shetty and also maybe Dr. Amen just talk a lot about like things being a choice. Like, you know, when you wake up in the morning, like your mind, you need to make the decision that it's going to be a good day.
It's so
and like,
true.
it's so powerful.
Yeah.
And look, like life is wild, you know, like everybody gets slapped with illness and, you know, there is a lot in life that's really hard to, it's not like, it's not saying like everything's good and everything's amazing and life's just, you know, there's no bad and there's no, you know, there's a lot that is hard to deal with, but it's like choosing to be proactive and to deal with things with a hopeful mindset versus like a negative.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, if anything, I feel like the days where we text each other, today's going to be a great day, or we say it ends up like being a harder day than than normal.
Yeah.
But I think that's just like having to just keep practicing to keep like a positive mindset to keep like just pushing through.
Or maybe we needed that mindset to get us through the tough day.
Yeah.
If we didn't have that mindset going into it, it would be a really tough day.
Yeah. Absolutely.
What?
I don't know.
Why are you laughing at me?
I said that today.
I know you did.
Today's been great.
It hasn't been a bad day. Look what we have on our couch.
Look at that. Sleep was a little rough. The dog threw up in the middle of the night, but it was fine.
Oh, it's the worst.
I know. It's always in the middle of the night, and then she jumps off the bed, and then this is so off topic. We have a white rug under our bed.
Oh, that's
and
risky.
I'm like, and
risky.
I'm like, because they normally don't sleep in bed because when we have both of them, but I jump out of bed every time, and she like got out of bed like 5 times last night. Nothing came out, but I'll throw a towel down. Wow, like so that it gets on the towel and not on my rug. So
wow.
You guys are living on the edge with the white rug.
Yeah.
With the dogs.
Yeah.
Admirable.
A lot of too many white rugs in this house.
Yeah. Yikes.
Oh my gosh. This episode is brought to you by BetterHelp. You know, we both have been on this, you know, kind of journey lately of learning about ourselves, learning about healing, about growth. Remy supporting you through this.
Are you supporting me?
But getting to know yourself can really be like a lifelong process. Especially, you know, you're constantly growing, changing, learning new things. But I feel like especially throughout this healing process, I've really come to learn a lot of things about myself that I may have forgotten or I may have misjudged or thought differently about. But it's been really cool, you know, getting to like learn about myself through this process of healing. And I mean, yourself as well. And something that has, you know, really helped us a lot is therapy. You know, learning healthy coping skills, learning how to set boundaries, learning, you know, just kind of being empowered to be the best version of ourselves. And I think we're very new to it. And I think the biggest thing that I've learned from it is you don't need to have experienced a, you know, traumatic, life altering situation to go to therapy.
Yeah.
You know, therapy's for everyone. I'm so big on advocating for, you know, you got to do the work before the work is needed.
Yeah.
That's something I didn't do, you know, before nursing and being in COVID. But I know I could speak for us both here. Therapy's been huge.
Yeah. And I get ahead of it. You don't have to wait for you to be in the middle of a crisis.
Yeah.
To go to therapy, talk to someone, get help, you know? It's like, let's be proactive, because when you are able to learn the tools, then when you have your next crisis in life, you're able to deal with it a lot better. So
you're prepared. I have recommended BetterHelp to a lot of people. It's on my Lemons by Tay blog. We post about it on the Lemons by Tay Instagram. I just absolutely love this company and what they're doing. It's entirely online. It's designed to be convenient, flexible. You know, a big excuse is, I don't have time to go to therapy. You can do therapy on your lunch break. You can do therapy on your drive home from work. You just fill out a brief questionnaire. You get matched with a licensed therapist. You can switch therapists at any time, which I feel like is another thing. People are like, I mean, myself included, it was like, I don't know how to find someone, or I don't know if I'll click with them. But if you're thinking about starting therapy, I would definitely give BetterHelp a try.
Much more affordable than, you know, most as well.
So discover your potential with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/thesqueeze today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/thesqueeze.
We love you, BetterHelp.
Heck yeah. What are you guys most proud of?
With big question.
Whoa, no one's asked that. That's a great question.
I'm going to say I'm most proud of the fact that I have worked on myself a lot, and I know that I don't have all the answers, and I know that my way isn't necessarily the right way. And I think you would have asked me this like 10 years ago, I would have been like, I have the exact formula, and my way, it's my way or the highway. And like, I used to think I knew everything. And I feel like I'm proud of the fact that I've done a lot of work on myself, and I've like really, I think I'm just like a much better partner in my relationship and in my friendships, because I'm able to just know that like I don't know everything.
Yeah.
Therapy, it's amazing.
There you go.
What about with the book? Are you proud of the book?
I think I'm just like proud of the book in general, you know, like I think it's been a long road. Like I've been working on a book for about 5 years at this point. So it's a long journey, but it's like so rewarding, and it really pushed me in ways that I've never been pushed before. So I'm just really proud of it in general. And that like we did it together. I think there's a lot of beauty in doing something with someone, because I think we're in a society where everything is self. And I think it's cool that we show that it's like good to do things with people and partner with people, and
how sweet you get to like celebrate together too.
Yeah.
Like that's something that I feel like is so fun for us with this, is we're like, oh wow. Like obviously like we celebrate the other, but this is something that like we do together. Like it just makes it a little more like sweeter when you get to celebrate with the person you worked on with.
Yeah, it is. What am I proud of? That's a good question. I don't know. It's like stumped me a little bit. I think it's not something we think about enough, and it's important. I think that I too have worked on myself a lot the last few years, and I think that I've gotten a lot more comfortable within myself. And again, what I was saying earlier about maybe my heart's always been the same, but then your heart can be one way, and then you got to do the work for that everything to kind of line up. And so I've worked on, I used to be a big people pleaser, saying yes to everything. I've been better about my yeses being yes and my no's being no, being comfortable with who I am, overcoming maybe certain, you know, issues or self-esteem things that were hard. Like I've kind of worked through those things. And I think being most proud of living a life of integrity. I'm not perfect, but I think that when you live life that way, you do sleep peacefully at night. And spending moved to LA when I was 18. So it's been 12 years, and it really has been a journey. There were a lot of, you know, a lot of opportunities where I maybe could have taken a different route or not not stayed on the path. And I always chose integrity and character above everything. And I'm proud of that.
Mm.
And the book I'm very proud of because it's vulnerable, it's real, and it's helping people.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Perfection.
This is a fun segment we have called the Lemon 11. And it is 11 fun questions.
All right.
So I'll kick it off.
Heck yeah.
Number 1. What movie or song title best describes your mental health today? Movie or song title?
This is a great question. Can you think of one?
Yeah, I'm going to go with, because I've just been listening to it a lot lately, Special, Lizzo and SZA.
Uh-huh. I love it.
Yeah.
Okay.
The lyrics too. The song's all about like just knowing that you're special.
Yeah.
And I feel like I'm kind of like getting my mojo back a little bit.
Yeah.
Feeling special.
I'm going to blast that right
Okay, I
when we
love that.
finish.
I love
That's a
that,
good one.
Tanya.
Yeah.
Wow, guys, I'm stumped on this. Wow.
I mean, you're YOLO
I know,
from earlier.
Can we do
You could
YOLO?
go back
Can we
to
do
YOLO.
repeat? I think I'm in YOLO
God's
for
plan.
life. I think
Maybe
that's
God's plan.
Let's stay in the Drake theme.
Yeah,
Let's go with
stay
God's
in the
plan. This is
Drake.
why she's my partner. God's plan.
Wow, that was good. Oh my gosh.
That was quick.
Thank you so much. Music, I know.
Yeah, she does work in radio.
Yeah.
She dabbles in the music. Oh my gosh. Okay, number 2. How open are you with the people in your life when struggling?
I'm so open.
Oh, wow.
Oh yeah. Yeah. One of my best friends, Ashley Cook. I think you know Ashley, right, Taylor? Do you meet Ashley?
I don't.
Maybe you didn't.
Is she a singer?
No. I've known her for
Actually, I think there is a singer named Ashley
There
Cook.
is a singer
I do
named
think
Ashley
that there
Cook.
is. Yeah.
Shout out to the singer Ashley Cook,
Yeah.
wherever you are.
But that's not who we're talking about.
So my friend Ashley, who's not a singer, she I call her and I'm like, it's all out there. I mean, there is like nothing. Yeah, it's out there. And we're open with each other.
Oh my-
yeah, like we're open.
I'm like,
we put it all out there.
Yeah, if I'm struggling, I'll literally be like, Raquelle, can you meet me for coffee? How quickly can you get there?
Nice.
Yeah.
That's so great to have.
Yeah.
I already know when it's about to happen. She'll text me. Hi. It's like a panic. It's like a different than like, hey, what's up? It starts with like, hi, where are you? And I'm like, okay.
I've actually gotten really good at being that way in my relationship too. Like
Great.
if I need something or if I'm like expecting something, I don't expect him to read my mind. Like I very much am just like, this is what I would like. And this is when I would like it by. And like, let's talk about it. You know what I mean? Like, let's talk about your expectations. Let's talk about my expectations and how we can like meet in the middle.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's-
the reading the mind thing, I feel like is one of the greatest things that I've learned and tried to work through because I'm like a acts of service person and I'll clean the dishes, I'll do all these things and I'll like wait for Taylor to like take the trash out because like that.
Yeah.
And that's like, but then he won't unless I tell him it's full. Not that that's a bad thing, but that's also just me and I'm a psycho with cleaning. But I've learned that I can't expect him to do a chore, do whatever that he may not even see is a chore or like that is even there. He may not even know there's clothes in the dryer.
So
or
true.
the clothes need to go into the dryer.
Yeah.
So I need, that's something I've worked on is just like being honest to me, like, hey, can you do this? Not like, not in a nagging way. Just
Because then when you do that and you think that they're going to read your mind, they don't.
Yeah.
Then you start to build resentment and then you start to get
Exactly.
angry. And like,
Yeah.
it's something that I'm so adamant about it. And I like make my boyfriend take the love languages test all the time because I'm like,
Wait, all the time? So he takes it?
yes, because I think it changes. I think your love
Wow.
language
I love
changes
that.
over time. And
I
I
can see
think
that.
like we give love the way that we like to receive love, when in
Yeah.
reality, you need to give love the way your partner wants to receive love.
Yeah.
And it could be two totally different things. So like, I'm always so aware of that. So like when his birthday comes around, I'm like, I would want to do this, but what do you want to do for your birthday? Like, let's do what you want to
Yeah.
do. Like, I'm
Yeah.
very aware of that stuff.
I
Yeah.
love that.
I'll take the trash out after this.
Yeah.
You did.
I did actually.
You did this
Yeah.
morning. I saw.
I did this morning. I honestly
didn't
So
only,
today was a great day.
But
Today was a
Yeah.
great day.
It was a big,
Yeah.
huge day.
Yeah.
We're learning that the taking the trash out is a part A and part
Yeah.
B.
Wow.
Yeah, because the trash has to go out and the bag has to go back in.
Yeah.
We skip step B a lot, but hey, I didn't ask him to do step A, so
I still actually have
Pick
to
the
put the bag
wins.
back in.
Yeah.
Okay, number 3. What is your favorite part of your morning or night routine?
My favorite part of my morning routine is coffee.
Yeah.
I love coffee.
Yeah.
So much.
No, I'm trying to get off coffee. So
That's
it's a touchy
literally me.
subject.
This is my first like week off of it, and I'm like slightly struggling, but it just hikes my anxiety through the roof, especially like just because we've been so busy. But I like need to get decaf now, and Erwan doesn't have decaf coffee that I can make at
She
home.
recently got a half caffeinated.
I learned from talking with Cassie, half calf is a thing you can order at coffee shops.
Yeah, I think yeah, because it's like they'll do some decaf, some regular
Yeah, it's like
to like wean you off.
Maybe
Yeah.
I need
Yeah.
to start doing half calf.
Yeah.
half calf.
I feel like for me it's more nighttime though, because my mornings like are so hectic usually. So I don't
Yeah.
really have like not a peaceful morning routine. Like it's
Yeah.
more of like a frantic morning routine. Although I have like my things, like I make my bed every day. I listen to my worship music. I try and light a candle while I'm getting ready. Like I have my things,
Yeah.
but it's very quick. Like I'm like, lighting the candle and then blowing it out within 5 minutes.
Yeah.
But
Oh, wow.
yeah, mornings are
You're
quick.
up.
Yeah,
bright
she's up
and
and
early.
out the door.
Yeah.
But nighttime, I'd say my favorite thing is back to my dog, cuddling with my dog in bed.
And smelling that breath.
Smell that
Aw,
breath.
smelling that
There's
breath.
nothing better. Because for me, like nighttime is where I can it's just slower pace.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you there.
Yeah.
Yeah. He likes the night.
I love the night. I'm way more of a night person.
Yeah.
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 Mornings are never
They're
fun
rough.
to me.
Yeah.
Just try and get through the morning.
It's hard.
I know. I try to do my routine stuff, like my sit down devotional time in the morning though, because I wake up before him. And so I like have actual
Oh,
this
that's nice.
me time. So I
Yeah.
try to do it then because at night we unwind differently. It's similar.
You also wake up literally like wanting to check things off your box. She's
Wow.
literally
the same
rolls
way.
out of
It's
bed.
a character
Me
thing.
too.
It's
Yeah.
like, yeah.
Yeah. And I'm
yeah.
like,
I'm with you, Taylor.
Yeah.
I'm like,
I need
yeah,
to-
it's rough.
I have to wait 40 minutes for him to sit on the couch, which I get because my dad, I used to not be able to speak to him in the morning until he had his coffee and be like, hey, can you? And he's like, no, I need a minute. And you're very much like that. You're like, I need to wake up. I need to adjust to being
Life,
awake.
yeah.
and life.
I'll literally walk. She's getting better now. You trashed on my chores, so I'm gonna give it back to you here.
I-
She's getting better, but I will walk out of the bedroom door, just open my eyes, and she's like, "Hey, I have these 5 thoughts. Wanted to run this by you," because she's been up for
I've been up and have all these emails
I'm
I've
totally
drafted.
the
waiting
She's
same
got
to
her
way.
send.
I get
notes
it.
and she wants to go over things right when I roll out of bed. And I'm like, bro, you got to slow down.
I'm the same way. Truly.
hilarious.
But it is funny. I will say the one thing I do every morning, because I wake up and I'm out the house before my boyfriend even he's still in REM cycle. I leave him a note every day. When I leave, I leave a note every morning before
Can you
I leave.
believe that? It's
And then
amazing.
when we have the kids, I'll leave it for him and the kids. It's a good morning, whatever they're doing that day. Hope this goes well. Hope your meeting goes well. Blah blah blah. Can't wait to see you tonight. And
That's
just slide
amazing.
out
so
the door.
sweet.
It's really nice. It's a tradition that I've started that I really hope I can
Love that.
do forever.
Yeah,
He used to do that to me all the time with
I used to.
No, when I was gone working, I don't leave the house
Oh.
anymore. I
Yeah.
work from here now. But when I was at the hospital and I'd come home in the morning from night shift, it'd be like, good morning. And there'd be a granola bar and a note.
That's
or
sweet.
Yeah, because I think
That's
there's
really
something
sweet.
I get sad that we don't get to wake up together.
Yeah.
There's something kind of
Yeah,
I don't like that. So it's kind of my way of
Yeah.
waking up with him.
the notes
Aw.
definitely put a huge smile on your heart for sure.
Yeah.
Is this me?
Yep.
Okay, great. Number 4. How has your career impacted your well-being? Eyes widen.
You want to take that? Do you want to start with that?
Yeah, I'll start. we struck a chord. My career has affected my well-being in a good way. I think I work project based, so I think that sometimes that can be difficult, right?
Yeah.
Because you have times where you get this, right? With creative work, you're extremely busy, and then there's times where you have more downtime. But I've learned now to be able to fill the downtime with stuff that's productive and is filling my soul, or is doing things for others, being involved with organizations or helping my friends. So I feel like now I've been able to balance it, and my career affects my well-being in a positive way. I think also working in the entertainment industry any industry can be difficult, but especially in entertainment, you're dealing with a lot of personalities. And so I think I've just learned better how to tune out of certain things that are not healthy or not good. And I just give it very little energy, focus on the good. So it's affected it in a positive way now.
It's great.
Yeah. You know, I think what's so funny is like, I don't think I was equipped to be in this industry when I started out because I did not have a thick skin. I let everything impact me. And I also didn't have a relationship with God at that point. So I didn't really have like a true sense of self. And also at that time, it was very not the way it is now with women, like wanting to help each other. It was very cutthroat. It was, I'm going after that. Like we're both going after the same thing. So like, she sucks. And like, it was just like the culture was just so different.
Yeah.
But I think that it did really help me, and I wrote a lot about that stuff in the book because it wasn't, like it was not rainbows and butterflies for me. And I was not greeted with open arms by everybody, but it's so beautiful because some of those relationships now have really blossomed and we turned the corner. And like, I wrote about one of them specifically in the book because it just goes to show you that you really can, if you take your ego, put your ego aside, like you really can, like being vulnerable and open with people. We have a lot more in common than I think we give ourselves credit for.
Yeah.
And sometimes if you don't start out on the right foot with somebody, doesn't mean that it has to always be that way. You know, if somebody extends the olive branch, it can really turn into a beautiful relationship. And Patty Rodriguez she wrote an endorsement for the book. And she's one of those people where when we first started out on air with Ryan Seacrest, like we did not see eye to eye. We like would really butt heads and it was really hard for me, for the first few months. And then it was when I was going through my breakup, she kind of extended this olive branch. She gave me this necklace that said hope on it. And it was like the turning point. Then we just started talking about our heartbreaks and like really related in that. And now we're like each other's biggest cheerleaders.
Aww.
And so it's like, it's a really cool story. But I think the entertainment industry, it goes in waves, and I think having a true sense of self, I think if you don't have that, you can really get swallowed up in things. I remember when I was going for this gig and I remember the producer at the time was like, when you go out on assignments, you have to ask this one. I'm always going to give you one question that you have to ask the person. And it would always be the salacious headline, whatever it is. And I was like, that's just not me. Like I want this job, but I don't want this job if it means I have to be something that I'm not.
Yeah.
And so I had no regret about that decision because it just did not make me feel at peace. But that was like later, that was when I was already doing it for a couple of years. But I think it's really shown me, it's been a roller coaster for sure. Yeah. Like it was hard for a while and then it would get better and then it would get hard again and different seasons, different situations.
Yeah.
It's like a lot to navigate.
Yeah.
It's a lot of personalities.
Like that you have been through that and like now you're like the senior and like new freshmen, like newbies come to work and you get to like be kind to them and like you get to like give them a different experience than you had to. I think that's really cool.
Yeah, it is fun.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, number 5. This is a fun one. What is the most misunderstood thing about you?
I think people, they think I'm happy all the time. They're like, how are you always happy? And I'm like, I'm not. Yeah. I'm not always happy. I'm always at peace.
Yeah.
But like, and I think I try to, it's funny because if you listen to the podcast, I've even cried on the morning show. You know what I mean? Like I'm very open about when I'm going through things. But I think that's like a big misconception that I'm just like always happy, that I like go to bed like, like that. I'm human.
I would say maybe similar for me too. I think that people don't, when you do kind of what we were talking about in the beginning, making that choice to take the high road and to see the good in things. I think that people think, well, your life must be really easy then, or you must not have struggles. And it's not true. It's like there have been a lot of struggles, but I really have done the work to overcome and to be that person and continue to do the work. So I think that would be a misconception for me, would be similar to you as well. It's people just thinking, oh, life must be great. You're always happy. And it's not true. It is a choice and it's work.
Yeah. It takes work to get there. And it's not always like that.
Yeah.
Number 6. What is the greatest advice you've ever received?
This one's very easy for me because it was like my first week on the job. It was from Chelsea Handler, and she said there's room for everyone.
Wow.
And it was like so profound, especially in that time, because again, it was like that time where women weren't so supportive of each other. And it felt like we were all going for the same one gig or, things like that. And so that was like very profound. It was like, there's room for everyone.
Oh, wow.
If I don't get that, I'll just get something different,
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
To not judge. My mom really instilled that in me. It's just to never judge anybody. If you were to walk in another person's shoes, maybe you would understand them a little bit more. And so just to never judge people.
Yep.
Yeah.
Totally. Okay. Number 7. What does wellness mean to you?
Wellness means everything to me because I see wellness as our mind, body, spirit being well. And I think it starts with the spirit. So for me, what that looks like is if I'm having a hard time, lucky to live in California, I'll go drive down to the beach and I'll go and take a really long walk and I'll listen to my worship music or meditation music. And I'll take time just to really be still. And every single time I do that, peace comes in. So then when my spirit's well, my mind is well. So if I'm having negative self-thoughts, they turn into positive ones. If my body is well, which that also has to do with the spirit, but it also has to do with what we're eating, what we're putting into our body. So wellness is everything to me. If I'm not well in my spirit, if I'm not prioritizing that, then I'm not going to be well in any other area of my life. So it's everything.
It's kind of the same for me, but I think wellness is also, I'm really big on routine. And it's funny because people like my best friend, Becca, we are like totally opposite. And in our podcast, people are always like, live a little Tanya, because I'll pack cucumbers with lemon as my snack and I'll bring nuts. And the thing is, it's not about living. Like, it's not like, to me, I'm living my best life when I'm taking care of myself, when I'm eating the things that I know make me feel good, when I'm sleeping, when I'm prioritizing my sleep. I would go through phases of life where I wasn't prioritizing my sleep and I need that to function. And so it's like really just being in tune with my body, my spirit, being at peace. That's all wellness to me. It's not about looking a certain way. It's about feeling a certain way.
Yeah. That's awesome.
I feel like you and Tanya are a little bit similar.
Yeah, I'm getting that vibe.
I thrive in my routine. And I'm always like, okay, let's set up on Sundays. I'm like, let's talk about what we want to eat for the week so we can set it up and we can go to the grocery store. And my boyfriend's
winging it all day,
every meal. Yeah. He's like, I don't know what I want to have for breakfast tomorrow. And I'm like, I already have my overnight oats packed for the next 3 days.
We were literally just talking about that. We've been postmating too much and we need to go to the grocery store because Taylor, he's the cook. He's an amazing cook.
Oh, wow. Guys, we've got to do a dinner.
Oh my gosh.
Fun dinner, yeah.
He's such a good cook. I'm spoiled. That makes up for my trash comment earlier. But we'll go. He doesn't want to go to the grocery store for multiple days. He wants to go to the grocery store when he wants to cook this one meal.
This is literally me and my boyfriend argue about this all the time.
No way.
And I can't predict.
He goes, what am I going to want to eat for Tuesday? And I'm like,
eat what's in the fridge. You just eat what's there. That's what you
That's so funny.
But I'm like, we need to start buying some more food because we've been postmating so much. We don't have food in the fridge.
We always have nothing in our fridge.
Because, we don't want to go to the grocery store. It's going to be way too late if you make dinner. Yeah. We need to just stock up on food. He's like, no.
We can stock up on snacks.
So how's it going? Where are you at with it?
Not well. We've stocked up on snacks. Everyone has all the good, the carrots and the cucumbers and all the things.
I'm fine stocking up on snacks. I just can't meal prep where I'm buying what I'm going to make, 3 days from now.
I also don't know what I'm going to feel like that. So if I don't feel like it, then
when I was single, let me tell you.
Oh no.
Thriving. Sundays, the whole day was dedicated to setting up my entire week. I would look at my calendar, see when I had my long days at work, I would literally know what I was eating for breakfast, lunch, and dinner every day. I'd go to the store, I'd get it all done, I'd pack my bag, I'd have my little satchel, keep my ice in it, and I would be
wow,
so good. And then it totally tanked when I started dating my boyfriend.
I feel it was Tay is longingly looking at Tanya wow.
Yeah. But we have met in the middle. I still do it for myself.
Yeah.
The stuff that I need to for work. It's the dinner that I'm really like trying to like get us on the same page.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But my boyfriend's the same way. He's like, but what if we want a barbecue tomorrow? Or what if I want steak? Or what if I want this? And I'm like, you just decide.
You just decide.
Just pick, and then you'll eat what's in the fridge.
Correct.
Oh my gosh.
Great. I'm glad to know I'm not alone. Number 8. What is your relationship with social media, and do you think it affects your well-being?
I have to say now my relationship with social media is great. And I've always had a really beautiful community on there. Like obviously there's a couple trolls here and there, few and far between. Like I'm very grateful and lucky that I have had that experience. But what's interesting is I actually wrote a chapter in the book about it because I was using this like supermodel filter on Instagram. I was like, damn, I look good.
Yeah.
And I would just use it and I would look in the mirror and like I started to kind of lose my sense of confidence. And I would look in the mirror and be like, oh, like, like I didn't like what I saw. And then I realized how much damage that was having on my confidence.
Yeah.
So I literally was like, I even went to the point where I sent a picture of my face with the filter and without it to my friend that's a plastic surgeon and said like, what do I need to do to look like this?
Yeah.
And it was like a laundry list of things. And I was like, this is a problem.
Yeah.
I am an adult, like fully developed woman who's confident in who she is. And I'm having this text conversation right now. Like this is a problem. So I really like made a point right then and there to like never use filters anymore.
Wow.
It's just not worth it.
Yeah.
It's not worth it for myself. And I also don't want, like, have you ever followed somebody on Instagram and then met them in person and been like, whoa, you look, it's jarring. And I was like, I never want somebody to meet me and be like, that's not who I see.
Yeah.
I just want to be me.
I love that.
Yeah, that's really great.
You're really good at it. My relationship with social media is good. I mean, I only have Instagram, so I maybe if I was on TikTok, Twitter, or whatever, maybe it would feel like too much time. But I think it's healthy. I try not to go on too much. I do think it's a natural habit. Like probably when I pick up my phone after this, I'm going to go check Instagram. But it's good. And again, it comes back to the inner work. I know the truth, and I know that you're really seeing people's highlights or a small glimpse into their life on socials, and so I don't really let anything get to me. And I know everyone's doing their thing, and anything that's negative or bad that I receive, I don't take it in. Focus on the good, and
it's all about that perspective.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, all perspective.
Okay, number 9. What is your favorite form of self-care?
I think what I just said of going to the beach, doing my walks. To name something outside of that, maybe getting a massage.
Yeah.
Find that really relaxing.
Yeah.
It's worship music for me.
Yeah.
Like it really just puts me in a totally different headspace.
Yeah.
And then the second thing, this is going to sound so weird, but cleaning my makeup brushes. Nothing.
I need
organization.
Yeah. Organization is my love language. And it makes me feel better to like organize, even if it's just like a junk drawer and I organize a junk drawer, like I feel better.
Yeah. I feel heard. I feel seen.
Yeah. I just saw a little bit of drool fall from her mouth.
The excitement.
It's not. I've said this so many times to Taylor. He's like, "What?" I'm like, "Just like I'm just gonna feel so much better once this is like put away, and then it'll get put away." And I'm like, "Oh my gosh!" And Taylor's like, "I feel no different." And I'm like,
It's so interesting. I've never lived with a man before my boyfriend. We basically lived together. And it's such an interesting thing when you're intersecting your life like that, because you're so used to, my home looks like a museum. Like it doesn't even look like anybody lives in there, because that's how I am. And then I move into, I haven't officially, but like I'm living with my boyfriend and his 2 kids, and it's not a museum, you know? And so it's actually been really good for me, because it's made me less, I don't care as much. I obviously we just had to meet in the middle, it was like, okay, keep the common areas clean and tidy, you know, and everything else I can like work with. But it's such a weird thing that I feel like nobody talks about when you move in with somebody. Like it's very, that's a lot.
Yeah. That's why I am thankful we've lived together for a little bit.
Yeah,
now.
we had some
Yeah,
practice.
growing pains.
The first year of marriage is so hard. I'm like, okay, I think us living together before significantly helped.
Sure.
Yeah,
You really get to know someone.
Yeah, you would be pissed at me.
Or vice versa, honestly.
I don't know.
Oh,
Compromise is a beautiful thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
For sure.
It really is.
We've learned to crush the compost in a good way. Like we crush it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, number 10. Who has had the most positive impact on your mental health?
I'd honestly say you, Raquelle.
Tanya!
Wow.
No, come here.
Oh my goodness.
Come here.
Hug
This is
it
beautiful.
out.
Oh, that's
What
so
a
kind.
moment.
Are you serious?
Well, I mean, yeah. Yeah, I think so. Because I feel like she's the type of friend where you can kind of go to her and there's no judgment. There's no and it's a very interesting skill that you have, because I think whenever a friend comes to me and like, let's say they like broke up with somebody, I'm like, that guy sucks.
Yeah.
He never did this. You know, like you insert your opinion, you kind of, you know, you go down that path.
Yeah.
Raquelle never inserts her opinion. She just listens.
Good listener.
She's a good listener and she's just there.
Yep.
She'll give you a scripture to encourage you.
Yep.
But it's very, it's not abrasive. It's not judgmental. And that's hard to find, I think.
Yeah.
And a lot of the time, that's all you need too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like you don't, in that moment,
Yeah.
you don't need advice. You
Right.
don't need like, you know, you just need somebody to listen to and somebody to be there. And,
Unless I ask you, if I'm like, what would you do in this situation? I don't want to know what you would do in this situation.
Yeah.
I just want to be heard and loved.
Yeah.
And
That was very sweet.
that was really that was really sweet. Tanya's had a huge
I was like, I gotta give it back to her now.
No.
She's like, I guess her.
Here's what I'll say. Like any person that I keep close to me has a positive impact on
That's great.
my mental. I mean, I won't be close to somebody if that's not the case. And I think that again comes from what we keep going back to, doing the inner work, because when you're healthy inside, you're gonna attract healthy around you.
Yeah.
Sure. And so Tanya's been an amazing support to me. You're always there.
Thank you.
Wow. Glorious. Okay, we have come to our last question, number 11.
Wow.
Here we go.
Drum roll.
If you could go back to one moment in your life, what would that moment be, and what would you say to yourself?
You know, I think I experienced like massive rejection when I was graduating from college. I was working for a radio station at my college, and I thought I was just going to like live in Tucson for the rest of my life, because I was like, I had a job and I loved it. And this was when it was like the recession and nobody was getting, you know, people were just getting laid off. And I would have stayed in Tucson. And I remember I got laid off because I was a part-timer. And that was the first time I'd ever had rejection like that. You know, it was my first real like adult job.
Yeah.
And it was really deflating. And it happened when I was graduating. And I felt that was one of like my lowest lows, because I just felt like so confused. And I wish I could go back and just like tell her like it's going to be okay. Because I think I have that mentality now. Like I'm like with my career.
Yeah.
If something goes awry and I end up, you know, I love what I do now, but let's just say something happens.
Yeah.
I know I'm going to be okay. Like I just have that faith now, and I didn't have it then. And so I wish I could go back and say, you're going to be a good girl.
Yep.
Well, that question makes me feel a little bit emotional. I just had one specific flashback to when I first moved to LA, and I was sitting with my mom at on this street called Larchmont. We're having pizza, and I was crying because I couldn't make any friends, and I'm very social, and it's a tough city to get integrated into, especially if you're not, you know, in high school or like, you know, at that age, it's really hard. And I remember saying, there was like a group of my friends in Chicago where I'm from, like they were all out together, and I said, see, look, like they're all together and they're all, I want to go back. And I think I remember I like ran off, like, cause I was just crying, and I'm 18, and I wish I could tell myself then, just stick it out, trust God, and things really will work out. And I think it's a good reminder for people to hear, because sometimes when you push through discomfort, sometimes that comes in the form of a move. What's on the other side of that is moving here changed my whole life.
Yeah.
To preface a little bit, I moved here with my family. So it was my choice to move. I was 18. But I wouldn't have necessarily maybe moved to LA on my own. And it got me out of my comfort zone. And I'm living a life that is so full and amazing because of that decision. And so I think it goes back to what you were saying in the beginning, your story that you gave about the 2 movies, of that it felt disappointing. It felt like, oh, this film that was going to change my life didn't happen. So for me, I was like missing my life in Chicago. And it's like that, I was happy there and whatever. But pushing through the discomfort, taking that different road, that new opportunity led me to the most full, amazing life that I'm living now. And so I think I would go back to myself in multiple moments, going through a breakup when I was younger and feeling like it was the end of the world, going through a move, just saying, hey, it's going to be okay. Because when you look back in hindsight, everything ends up exactly the way that it's meant to be. Even the hard stuff, it grows you internally and makes you a more well-rounded, beautiful person. So that's what I would say.
Beautiful.
It's always going to be okay.
Yeah.
Amen to that.
Awesome. Oh, this is great.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Coming and joining us.
Thank you guys for having us.
So much fun. And we will link your lovely book for
Yes.
everyone to go.
We would
Buy,
love
check
that.
it out. I'm obsessed with it. And congrats again, guys. It's
Thank you so
exciting.
much.
Thank you.
Woo! Woohoo! We did it. We did it. That was really great, guys. Really enjoyed it.
Well, if you have still made it this far, thank you for listening. So sorry. Thank you for squeezing us in.
Ba-bum. And of course, you can follow myself, Taylor Lautner. We have at The Squeeze. And also be sure to check out Lemons by Tay on Instagram, as well as lemonsbytay.com for additional resources and conversations. Plus, you can email us at lautner.thesqueezepodcast@gmail.com. We've been getting so many awesome stories, guest requests, ideas. So thank you guys for those. We see them, we are loving them, and we are, just scheming up some ideas with those emails. So be sure to email us there. And most importantly, please continue to share your journey with us and with those around you, and send our show to a friend you think could use a little extra squeeze in their life.
We love you all.
This podcast has been brought to you by Podcast Nation.